The year is 2020. We have been in this room for 6 hours.
No, we've been in this room for 3 weeks.
That's right.
We haven't moved.
Help!
We've been here forever. The last team that we have to review is honestly one of the most interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
It's the Vancouver Titans. So, this team has made some odd changes coming into the 2020 season.
Actually, on paper, not really, but yes.
Yeah, because let's talk first about who they've removed. So, Hureg has disappeared to become a coach for the Houston Outlaws. Rappel has disappeared to be actually signed for the Houston Outlaws. Neither of those I have issue with even the slightest. But then they remove both of their main tanks, Bumper and Tizzy. Tizzy played with them in Contenders, rejoined them to go to the grand finals in the Overwatch League. Bumper has been playing with them since 2016. He is like, this is one of the longest standing cores in the whole of Overwatch. And Haxal, Janu, Stitch, these players are no longer playing with Bumper. Bumper was their shot caller, their main tank, the player that kind of defined the style of how they played, at least within the GOATS meta. And they don't have either of those anymore.
I am just livid about TC not being on this roster anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
He just slot in like perfectly. And now Fisher, I'm just mind blown. I don't have words to describe.
My thing is, it blows my mind that Fisher is still getting the opportunity to play on this thing.
Let's talk about the Fisher situation then, because Fisher left the Soul Dynasty and was a streamer for a while and retired, yes. He then rejoins this team as their only main tank for the 2020 season. In terms of, let's ignore all of the extra stuff about Fisher. If you're just talking about his individual ability and play style, do you think it fits this team?
No.
I think he's a bit too demanding as of a
That's
player.
what I was going to say.
I think he requires too many resources to really fulfill the playstyle he wants to play. I think that he's a bit too commanding of a main tank, and I think he often wants to lead the way. I don't think that fits in well with someone like Haxal at all, and I actually think that we're going to see another pickup. Like at some point, we're going to see someone else get picked up.
My guess is Fisher retires halfway through the season.
I totally agree with you. I think you could not find a worse player to pick up than Fisher.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in terms of he's bad individually. He's an incredibly skilled main tank. But there is no one more unreliable than Fisher in the league. You're talking about like Envy at that point, and I don't even know. Have there even been other people?
I'd rather see Envy on Vancouver Titans than Fisher.
Yeah, I agree. And my quote when I first saw, when it was first reported that Fisher joined the Vancouver Titans, I said on stream, I don't want Fisher to ruin the Titans. And I think that that's what's going to happen. Having said that, though, I don't think Fisher ruined the Titans. I think Titans ruined the Titans.
It's going to be on them.
This screams to me internal conflict. And
well, there has been. I've heard rumors that there's been massive issues between the players and the coaches.
Yep.
But the coaches have so much power over the team that there's been this like big desire, and that would explain the Tizzy Bumper move. Like, why would you drop both of your main tanks when both of them were fine?
Yeah. Well, I've also heard that the teams hated how Tizzy and Bumper played towards the end of the season.
Oh, really?
The players, yeah. And there was a lot of internal conflict within that team as well, to the point where it was like, I don't even know whether they're going to be able to play together again, but presumably they've got their shit together. I think it's like death by success. They got to the grand finals and expected so much of themselves that when they ended up losing and not being perfect like they were in GOATS, they've ripped the team and what made them so good apart. The strength of the Vancouver Titans was that they were so good together as a team.
Yeah.
Their team coordination and synergy. And instead they've ripped that apart and tried to fill the gaps with old names from 2018, like Fisher and Jaehong.
And if we're bringing up players that are washed, I think Jaehong definitely needs to come into the conversation as well, because Jaehong's been a staple for so long, but he hasn't played a good game in a very long
And people are going to hate on you for saying that, but you're right.
People are gonna when I say he's washed, I mean he is a middle of the pack.
He's not grand final.
I wouldn't even say middle of the pack. I don't think he's middle of the pack. I mean, you look at even like the new players coming in from Korean contenders. I would take every single one of the new players from Korean contenders before I would want Jae-Hong on my team.
I think Jae-Hong, I don't think he is actively just doing this to grab a paycheck. But in my mind, this is his paycheck season.
Yeah.
This is him hanging out, chilling, and playing in the Overwatch League.
He will never play over Twilight. If he ever plays over Twilight, I will be shocked.
And it doesn't make any sense because him and Twilight have the same heroes that they excel at.
Yeah.
Twilight is the Ana specialist that also plays the Moira pretty well, and the Zen is also very good. But Jae-Hong is the Ana specialist, his Moira is very good, and his Zen is meh.
Yeah,
and that is you couldn't find a worse player to pick up as a backup for Twilight either. They've made the worst moves of the offseason.
It's not like they're picking up another player that could probably learn from Twilight. This is a player that has nothing left to learn. They're saying he's old. He's probably not going to play for many seasons after this anyway. So it's not like he's ever going to have a redemption arc on this team. So it's it has to be a paycheck taking season.
Is so weird. It's a terrible decision making from whoever made the decision. But the
where do we even start? Besides that, it's just
let's ignore Jae-Hong for a sec because he probably isn't going to be in the starting lineup, and let's just consider Fisher's addition to the team. If they have to play with Fisher this entire year, which from the outside looking in it looks like, and if Fisher manages to survive the entire time without just being kicked or retiring, because he has a history of both, people don't realize that he was evicted from all of his teams. He was kicked out of the London Spitfire because he caused trouble on the bench because he was restless. He wanted to be played. That makes sense. I can understand that. He got kicked out of the Gladiators because he benched himself or something.
He
or
benched
whatever.
himself for the playoffs.
Yeah, he benched himself and then got kicked because of course you can't just bench yourself for the playoffs, you moron. And then he got we don't know what happened with the Seoul Dynasty, but
he lost motivation and wanted to do other things besides Overwatch,
which is as bad as having discipline issues and being kicked. I mean, that can't happen here.
And are you telling me that this guy known for all of these incidents is going to go into a team that we think is going to perform worse, and he is going to be happy about the team performing worse?
Because especially if you say the players have actively said that they didn't like the way that Bumper and Tizzy played. Do you think it's a very happy-go-jolly thing on the inside of that team? Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they have perfection on their mind, and when they start losing matches next season, which I'm pretty sure they are, I think it's gonna go ass up, and I think it'll be interesting to see where it ends up.
Yeah. So if Fisher was able to keep all of that cool though, he is very talented.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean Jonu is a really good off tank next to him.
Yes, and so the team on paper. I mean, if you didn't know anything about the interdynamics of the team, I would be tempted to look at this and be like, holy shit, they got Fisher, the guy's an absolute beast. Is there any world in which it works out?
Yeah, there is a world in which it works out. They hover around top 3, and then they just sort of peak in the playoffs with Fisher just being incredible, right? But let's say that's 2% chance, 2 to 5% chance.
I can't see Fisher enjoying playing Orisa. That's the thing. It's I don't even think he's gonna want to play the game.
That's so true. Yeah.
Do you think the thing that Fisher loved doing is he loved playing Monkey, he loved being the star of the show, and he loved being the person that
he loved playing Reinhardt as well. To be fair, for those fatty shatty.
But if we're starting to move away from Orisa. We're not there yet. Well, I'm saying that it seems like the developers want to move away from Orisa. Yeah, I'm just saying what's the best case scenario, and I definitely think there is a scenario in which the developers are just well, we don't want to Orisa anymore, so we're just going to update this before the Overwatch League, and suddenly Fisher is really good shining.
Possible.
So
potentially, yeah.
Even then, there's so many issues with the team already.
Yeah, Haxel and Stitch. I'm okay, well, we all love Haxel, but Stitch complimenting him or Somin So complimenting him, I'm you sort of had your time playing goats, and I don't know how I feel about you on a top team.
Stitch's McCree is very good, and he can play some other weird heroes. His Tracer's pretty decent. What else?
Sure, yeah, but
he's improved his Widowmaker so that's competent.
Yeah, maybe I'm being ridiculous, but I'm comparing them to New York, San Francisco Shock, etc. Because that's where they were last year. Yeah, and so I'm
my thing is I feel like their DPS line isn't that good. And that's my problem, is that like Huxell has an incredible Genji and incredible Doomfist, but does he play Hanzo? Does he play anything that aims incredibly, that needs high level aim?
Nothing springs to mind.
And that's it. Like,
I mean, fanboys will say they're like, oh, he charges Dragon Blade so fast.
Yeah. Well, but you can't just like, even in stage 4, you saw them. They were the only team that played Genji because that's pretty much all they know how to do, right? That's what they know how to do. What does Sominsu and Stitch here, Paul? Like, do they like? Who's their Pharah player?
The Pharah player is Huxell. Huxell can actually play Pharah pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay,
But it's more like it's like the.
Let's say it becomes Hanzo Mei. Then we got
Huxell plays the Mei, yeah.
And
then
Stitch or Sominsu plays the Han. And that's what I mean is
fuck
like,
knows.
Even then it's like, I'm sure they are good at what they do, but are they a top 3 team? Like if we're trying to say everything goes well and they all play their roles, are they a top 3 team in a DPS meta that isn't dive?
I mean, I don't think so because when I look at this roster on paper, I think that they have a lot of good role players. They don't have a lot of like star or talent position players. They just have a lot of like good role players that fill their niche and complement others. And they need honestly like someone else to sort of be the bright star. Maybe Huxell can't.
But this roster though still did incredibly well last year, like unbelievably well in terms of their team coordination and all of that kind of stuff. If they manage to keep the team coordination really high, they could still succeed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Still be a good team.
But it was also the environment. I mean,
yes.
They came in as a family and they played as a family, and that was it. And now you're
tearing
like you said,
this family apart.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like Bumper is out of there. Who, Reg, Repel, TC, even like Harsha left. Like Harsha was obviously not part of Runaway, but he was still like the guy who was like, welcome to America, and took care of them. So I think that some of that energy has just like.
Are we really saying, though, that this Runaway squad, which has always managed to be competitive since 2016, this is the time at which they lose it? When they add Fissure?
But there's never been a time where they've added the most controversial player in the history of the game in Fissure and okay, maybe not the most controversial, but one of the most.
He actually might be. He might be.
Okay,
I mean, XQC is probably more controversial.
But there's been a couple, and we don't need to mention them.
Yeah.
But but Fissure is up there. A top 5 at least. Yeah. And then you have Ri-Jae Hong, who is not going to play, and
I agree. I think if there was ever a time in which this team was going to be at their weakest, it would be now. And I think they will probably still do okay. But the question becomes will the team be fine with being okay?
There's also a pattern with...
Because when was the last time Runaway wasn't the best team?
Best case scenario. Okay, go on.
Well, I was going to say, there is a pattern actually with Runaway. I'm just looking at Huxell's results here. Because if you go back, they tend to oscillate a lot. They go like... in the initial season, they were bad. In the second season, they were really good. In the third season, they were bad. In the fourth season, they were really good. And then they have managed to kind of continue that into the Overwatch League. But they had, like, what Runaway tends to do, I think, is when they do well, they mix up the team and it leads to a bad team for a while, and then they realize what was bad and they fix it and they end up being good again. I think this is just one of their downswings. I think really the oscillating thing of Runaway is not a meme. It's a symptom of how this team genuinely makes decisions.
My argument becomes is they're not Runaway anymore. They're not being run.
That's what I was going to say.
Runner
and Flowerwind.
They're not being run by them anymore. They now have completely unique owners, GMs, all that kind of stuff that don't understand. Like, let's go to the organization. Like, their co-founder and the CEO president, they don't even have a GM.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what the system is like.
Is there coaches just running it? And now
I think it's... even then, I think Steve Mider is like
the rumor of Pyjon is just like that he sort of lets the players run the...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not a fan of Pyjon.
And that's it. And here becomes the issue is that you have Pyjon, the head coach, who the players don't really like. They can't make decisions because they're the players and not the head coach. They don't have a GM. They don't have the control. Like, Runner has been the person that has made Runaway sort of like come together. I think this is one of those teams that has a bad run, but they don't have Runaway to put them back together.
Yeah. I could definitely see that.
Arguing the best case scenario, Flowerwind and Runner comes back and they had like another main tank that's solid and low key.
Sure.
And I think
also in the past they've picked up brand new talent rather than picking up old talent. Like this is so weird for Runaway to pick up Fissure.
What the hell do we do?
They are definitely going down.
Yes.
That much we have decided on.
Yeah, last season number 1 of course in regular season, 25-3, definitely going down.
Definitely going down. 25-3.
What
the question becomes, where in the hell do you put them?
If I wanted to put them somewhere, I want to put them 8th. I think 8th. Their Gladiators are better than them, but I think Spark will be worse than them.
You have to give some credit to players like Slime, Janu,
but it's not. I don't think it's like that. It's either one or the other. Yeah. Like Titans are either going to get it and they're going to fix their issues and they're going to be really good, top 4, or they're going to shit the bed and they're going to be middle of the pack. Yeah. And they'll still be middle of the pack because they're competent players. But
that's why I want to put them under Gladiators, but over Spark, because I don't think they'll ever end up there. But I think
I want to put them over Gladiators.
Yeah, same.
All right, that's fine with me.
In the 7th position.
So you want to put no?
Yeah, 7th, and we move everyone up.
Yeah.
Do we feel good about Atlanta 3?
Atlanta 3.
How did we end at Atlanta 3?
Here's where we came to.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, we started by taking the piss out of Avast
for calling them second, and then putting them second still a joke because. I think Shock and NYXL will always be first and second, no matter how anyone looks at it. But 3, I think they deserve it. I honestly think Atlanta, looking at the rosters,
why not?
Yeah,
Atlanta should be there.
Yeah, let's do it.
Major overhaul.
Go, Custa, go. We're gonna have to remember stuff as well. You should probably start at the top. Start at the top and write in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then
Shanghai.
No. Oh my God, what are you doing? Just
Atlanta number 3.
Just write them one at a time. Otherwise, we're gonna forget what they are.
We have a VOD.
Yeah, we have a VOD. You want to go back over the VOD?
Shanghai.
And now Shanghai.
I can't believe. I don't think Shanghai should be 4, but here we are.
They might be.
This is why I had
Fusion
Charge
5.
higher. I wanted to put Charge higher.
Not better than Shanghai, though.
Dude, Charge might be better than Shanghai. They're safer than Shanghai.
And then,
I think Fusion should be above Shanghai.
Well, you had your opportunity.
yeah, you had your chance.
What the hell? Charge. Oh, we forgot the arrows.
Well, and 7 is the Vancouver Titans.
Titans. With a down.
Yeah.
So Charge went up. Shanghai went up.
Fusion up, but that's, we see that. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
The only thing I dislike about this board is Fusion should be above Shanghai, in my opinion.
No.
I don't know. It's so hard to tell because Shanghai, their main tank position is just like, what the fuck? And Fusion, I mean, I think that...
Okay, stand 1 and void.
Well, exactly. That's the problem, thing, isn't it? Like, Shanghai might just be...
Their support line in this DPS line is just...
Honestly, if this was me, I would have Charge at number 4, and then I would have Fusion Shanghai. I would swap Charge and Shanghai.
No, sure. Charge are not a top 4 team.
I think they are.
They are not a top 4 team. They're not.
I think you should delete this video halfway through the season so no one can judge us.
No one's allowed to look back.